Hey guys, it's Faye from Solar Flow and I am back with another video. Today's topic is a little bit different than usual because today I'm actually going to do an energy read on a very well-known person. This woman has been in the news on and off for at least the last decade. And part of that reason is because she was under a conservatorship that was run by her father. And usually, or I would say in the past, I haven't done an energy read on a person because the way that I usually work is, first of all, it's unethical to go around reading people's energy without their consent. And also, as an energy reader, we do get a better energy read on a person when they are open and they are excited to have their energy read because they are looking forward to the information that comes from that. But with Britney's energy, what ended up happening was that I heard that she had done a new song. I think it was a remake of an Elton John song, or maybe they had done like a duet together or something like that. And ever since I heard that, her energy was coming in very, very strong to me. And it almost felt like an invitation because of how persistent her energy was to read it and to share the information that came through. So that's what I'm doing today. So today we're going to talk about the energy of Britney Spears, her father, and her conservatorship, which was run by her father. So if this sounds good to you, please stick around, and if not, I will catch you at another video. So as I was saying earlier, when I heard that this new song had come out, I didn't really think much about it. I didn't Google it, I didn't go and listen to it, but just kind of having this awareness of Britney coming into my time and my space, her energy came in very, very strong. So I decided to sit down and meditate and see what else could be drawn out of it or extrapolated from it, and to see if it was in fact an invitation to read her energy. And when I sat down that night to meditate, it came in very, very strong. Everything that was going on between her, her father, her fame, her success, and what that whole conservatorship was all about. So, Britney rose to fame. I believe she was a teenager at the time. I know when I was in high school, her song, Hit Me Baby One More Time, was all over the place. It was very popular. I remember she was on all the radio shows promoting her song. And then she had a very memorable performance at, I think it was the VMAs, where she was dancing with a snake. So what was so interesting about the way all the information started to come in was both her energy and her father's energy came in together. Because so much of what has happened to Britney, not just her conservatorship, but her image and all the work that she has done has been in tandem and has really gone hand in hand with her father. So her father realized that she could be crafted. And he understood the way the male minds worked, and he was very instrumental in crafting this image that she had. And that first started with her Hit Me Baby One More Time video. She was wearing the Catholic girl uniform with the very, very short skirt, dancing in the hallway with the little stockings. And the reason that her father understood the sexual energy and the sexual appeal behind her, this is what came through, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. He was very sexually attracted to and drawn in by her energy. But it was also because she was so young and nubile that he understood the male perspective, and coming from that male perspective and understanding it, he could shape it and he could mold it. And he was shaping it and he was molding it based on what his own point of sexual attraction was. So the image of who Britney was a direct reflection of the point of attraction for her father. And he actually enjoyed and got off on knowing and understanding that his daughter was very pined over by other people, by men and by teenage boys, whoever it was. He enjoyed that element. And you also, the way I was looking at it was like, how many people would actually want their child to be in the spotlight and at such a tender age to also be so exposed in that way? So that's very much connected to the energy of her father, where he is somebody that was not only okay with it, but was somebody that got off on it, and knowing that other people were sexually drawn to and attracted to his daughter. And there was a lot of financial gain involved in all of that for him, for his family, for Britney, but that was more a side effect. It wasn't the primary purpose in shaping Britney's image and getting Britney out onto the stage. The primary purpose was a sexual exploitation of Britney, and that her father enjoyed and got off on that. Now, that lasted for many, many years. Things started to shift dramatically once Britney got married to Kevin Federline and started to have children. Because what happened at that time energetically was, in the act of becoming a mother, Britney was energetically taking herself back, because then she was no longer an object of desire. She was no longer a sexual object. She became an actual person. And in more than becoming an actual person, I know it sounds weird to say that was what it took for her to become a person. It actually was what it took for her to become a person, because energetically she reclaimed her sexual energy, she reclaimed her sexual power, and in the act of becoming a mother, connected herself to things that were of a more divine nature than herself, because women are portals. We bring spirits in to the earthly realm. And because she was so open energetically at that time, it connected her to divinity. And it got her understanding, it kind of shifted her perspective away from the three-dimensional and everything that is earthbound, basically anything you can see, taste, touch, smell, and hear, and feel. And it allowed her to connect to more of a spiritual side of herself that she had never been in touch with before, because she had really been shaped by and under the thumb of her father. And it wasn't something that she had the capacity, the idea, the draw, or even the desire to connect to it. But becoming a mother really opened her up to that, because it opened her up energetically to the divine. So on an energetic level, her father was experiencing that and he was feeling that. And so first of all, now she is becoming a more well-developed and well-built-out person, because now she's maybe not as interested as she was in career and establishing herself in music and being a coquettish kind of sexual object for people to fantasize over. But she reclaimed her femininity, she reclaimed her feminine power, and in doing so, her father started to feel energetically that she was slipping out from under his control. She was becoming harder for him to control. She was becoming more defined in herself and in her actual desires and goals, and wasn't really so interested in playing the games that she had played before when she had this persona and was going out and touring and she was doing her performances. And she certainly felt like she had enough money and she didn't have the same earthbound desires any longer. So you kind of have a perfect storm right now, because her father was responding to her loss of interest in the things that she had been interested in before, a reclaiming of her actual sexual prowess and sexual power, and understanding there was more to herself and there was more to what she had been desiring before. Now, you also have somebody who had two children pretty close to one another. Her hormones were all over the place. She was going through a lot of postpartum issues. So yes, we understand. Anyone who had eyes, anyone who could see, and especially, you know, she was the biggest pop star in my generation, could see that at that time she was acting out erratically. And there are many ways that we can extrapolate what was going on from that. But my actual interpretation of what was going on at that time was she was responding to the energetic tug of war that was going on with her father, where he was trying to pull her back and getting her under his control. And she did not want to go back under his control, because she had had a taste of understanding her own real core identity, who she was, what she wanted. She was enjoying motherhood. And she started to actually act out at that time in a way that she had not acted out earlier. So when you think of a child acting out, you would think of it maybe in their teenage years. They're very rebellious. She was very disciplined in those years because she was a performer. So it was a delayed onset of adolescence, you could say, where she had not had that opportunity to act out at an earlier time in her life. Then you're compounding it with the fact that she had all these new responsibilities of motherhood, and there was the conflict with her father. He was trying to energetically draw her in. Perfect storm for her to act out in the way that she did act out at that time. So the conservatorship was a direct result of her father trying to get her back under his control. He had tremendous financial gain during that time, and because of those reasons, and he wanted to again get her under control. What is so notable and coming in so strongly actually right now is I think the first performance that she had done at the MTV Video Music Awards. And I remember watching this and I remember thinking, wow, like it was a bit of a hot mess. And this is not something that she understood she was doing intentionally, but energetically, the first performance that she had, I don't know if it was after she had her first son or her second son. It was definitely after she shaved her head. And I remember she had the extensions in her hair, but she also didn't present herself as if she was not back to her pre-baby body. And of course, there's no reason after having a child she should have been so quickly thereafter. But the performance also was not as tight. It was a bit all just sloppy. And what I was getting from that was it was kind of like, it was an FU to her father. It was, you are trying to control me. You are trying to make me something that I am not. You are trying to make me into something that I no longer want to be. So she was putting it in his face. This is what's going to happen if you try to make me into something that I am not. It's not going to go over well for you. So again, there was more of this energetic tug of war in terms of her trying to stay true to herself, and her father, again, the getting her under control, the wanting to control her. But again, at that point, not fully having control over her, right? So the conservatorship gave him the full amount of control, that more so than what he had had before, because now he could control her finances. He could control her reproduction, right? So she could not have any more children. She could not get off birth control. He could control her touring schedule, how much time she had off. So he really became this puppet master at that time. And whereas when she was younger, he derived this sick sexual pleasure in kind of like pimping her out, her image out for all the world to see, he now had an even sicker pleasure in controlling her. And as the rage grew around her conservatorship with her fans, he was siphoning energetically off of the rage of her fans. He was siphoning energetically off of her rage, and he was financially siphoning off of her as well. Now, because she was also under his conservatorship, she had very limited control over who she could associate with, who she could hang out with, who she could be friends with. A lot of that was also controlled by her. It's insane. Sorry guys, it's insane. So it was under control of her father, and he was energetically acting as her pimp. So whereas before he was acting as her image, her PR pimp, her sexual public reputation pimp, now he was actually acting as her actual sexual partner pimp. It is so gross. I'm sorry, again, I'm just the messenger. You cannot, or at least the way they came in, again, they came in like hand in hand. So I could not talk about Britney's energy without talking about her father. And I could not talk about everything that had happened to her before, there, or after without also talking about the conservatorship, because it's all one big, it's like a ball of yarn. Think of a ball of yarn, and there's little threads sticking out of the ball of yarn. One of them is the Britney thread, one of them is her father, one is the conservatorship, one is her image, one is her mental breakdown, one is becoming, it's all a big ball of jumbled up yarn. And you cannot take out one piece without touching on all of the other pieces because they're all intertwined. So, there was, though, however, while her father was siphoning off the energy of her fans, her enraged fans, energetically, there was also a very big movement, a very big, powerful movement created by the energy of all of her fans. And that is actually what shifted the tides and changed things for her conservatorship. So I think that's very interesting, and I think that's very notable because it really does show how collectively and energetically, when we come together with the intention, when it's a pure intention and it's a good intention, and in this case, you know, I think it's almost fair to say that nobody loved Britney more unconditionally. Of course, her children did. But outside of her children, nobody actually loved Britney more unconditionally than her fans, because they were not benefiting from her. They wanted nothing from her. They just loved her purely and unconditionally and wanted her to be free. So it was because there was this very large movement of all of her fans that came together that energetically was creating, think of it like mini earthquakes that are creating cracks in a foundation until the cracks, they're so numerous that the habitation that you're in no longer becomes safe for you to stay in. And that is what the movement of all of her fans had done. They had created all of these little tiny fissures in the foundation of the conservatorship until the point where the conservatorship was no longer sound energetically. And that's why it had to come to an end. Because it was the power of pure positive devotion and energy, pure positive love, pure unconditional love, that power became stronger than the power of her father and the power of the nefarious conservatorship that she was under. So good job, guys. You did this. So that's what I got for you today, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you would like me to do a different notable person, I can see if I can get their energetic consent to read into them. If you would, comment down below. And again, as always, until next time, stay in the high vibration.